Good evening, everyone. It is the Put the Kids to Bed version of the Sports 2.0 show. Get it going here. I am Rodney Knuppel. That is Nathan Believa. You can follow him at his Twitter account right there in Believa. I've got the girly drink here, Nathan. First of all, good evening. How are you this evening?
I'm doing good. It's a great Wednesday night, right in the middle of the week. Nice to talk some sports, have a adult beverage.
That's right.
I'm in the cigar lounge, so I got to have a cigar. So I got the Rocky Patel Woodford Reserve combo, and that makes for a great Wednesday night. I'm telling you.
You're off to a good start here, so that you are number 2 on the no rankings, just the second person that is done the co-hosting here with the Put the Kids to Bed version. Let's tell people about Nathan Believa. What can you tell people about you? If people don't know about you, what can they find out about you?
I worked in minor league baseball for 18 years. Did a little bit of everything there, mostly broadcasting, play-by-play, but ran social, ran the website, ran community relations for a while, baseball ops, a little bit of everything in Central Illinois. And then since March, I've been the SID at Monmouth College, which is a Division III school in the Midwest Conference here in West Central Illinois, and kind of doing everything. We got 22 sports, so I ran 10 in the spring and we'll run 9 here in the fall, and then we'll get swimming and men's and women's and basketball going in swimming starts in October, basketball obviously into November, so we'll have some fun with all that and be ready to go. But do a lot of high school, college broadcasting, and get the hot takes going on the Twitter machine. Have a lot of fun with that. Just talking sports. Doing as many fantasy leagues as possible, and having some fun with that. The free leagues are always fun, and the leagues with buddies where you're trash talking and doing that is good too. So just a lot of sports and a lot of good fun.
So let me get this right. Your allegiances fall Major League Baseball, St. Louis Cardinals.
Correct.
We know that.
Correct.
Your NFL allegiance falls with the Green Bay Packers.
Also correct.
We're gonna talk a little bit about that. Your college football allegiance follows with the Florida Gators, correct?
That's correct. I actually, I thought about doing like wardrobe changes for you tonight.
There you go.
Yeah. But that was bringing a lot of jerseys out here. So
yeah. And then you've got some Marquette background too, right? So that's more in the college basketball realm. But
I worked at Marquette for undergrad, and then went to Florida for grad school. So a little combo of both of those, and and then I got the Manchester United logo on right now for Premier League soccer. So
you are one of the bigger soccer fans that I know around the area, Nathan. So congratulations on that. In fact, if I have something in need in the world of soccer, you're my guy. You're my guy. You actually do a little bit of side work for us here at Noob Solutions. You're pretty busy with your real job now, so we'll cut you a little break. But hey, I do appreciate the soccer work you do for us. So
hey, got to get that covered. Love doing that. The unfortunate thing for me is I sleep in on the weekends with no kids and no reason to be up, and unfortunately, Manchester United has drawn the 7 a.m. kickoffs the last 2 weekends. So I watched about 20 minutes so far of their season. But that'll change here moving forward. They've got a 10:30 game coming up. That's more in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, there you go. All right, hey, let's get started tonight. If you want to join us, the comment section is available for those of you listening or watching tonight. I threw a link up on Twitter, Nathan. If you got a little time, you can that. You can retweet that and get your friends in here. We'll talk a little sports tonight. Let's start college football wise. I want to make this a football show because you and I are Cardinal fans, and we're just kind of pretending that baseball season's still going on. But in the end, baseball season's coming to an end for us.
Yeah.
College football, so the SEC's your bread and butter. Let's start with your Florida Gators. First of all, win total of 9 this year. Have you looked at the schedule close enough? If you were advising, now again, this is not a betting advising show, so if you're following Nathan Believa's bets here, don't blame him. But if you are looking at the 9 wins, where are you heading with 9 wins for the Gators this year?
Well, it's tough schedule-wise because the crossover game for Florida is always LSU.
Yeah.
and the Tigers should be better than they were last year when they dropped back to earth a little bit and had some quarterback issues, to say the least. We obviously always play Georgia because that is a SEC East tilt. This year, the other crossover game is Alabama, which comes early in September. So, that's 3 right there. So that means that they got to win every other game, and they got to win their bowl game to go over. So makes it pretty tough there. Now they did beat Georgia and last year, taking out LSU. Florida State's a piece of cake, as we know. So we got that at the our easy Thanksgiving snack there, Thanksgiving weekend. So we got that, but that's really right on the number. I mean, that's probably what it is. It's probably 9-3 rolling into that. So that's kind of what you go with.
One of your buddies looks like he's joining us. I appreciate that. He's Phyllis from Alabama here, longtime listener, first-time caller, and he's already starting the trash talk. Gators suck, roll tide. So,
and he's not even that's fake because he's a Florida State fan. That's why he's a Florida State. He's claiming to be a Bama fan, but that's because he knows the SEC is the best and where it's at. So
if you had to throw your money on, you're going under on Florida, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're going under.
I would. The biggest question with Florida, in my mind, is just the quarterback because, Kyle Trask was awesome last year. So was Kyle Pitts, the tight end, and Kadarius Toney. They're all gone. So now you've got Emory Jones, who's super talented. But so far, he's come in and played a series here and a series there and, has run the ball well and run the ball a lot. But he's got to stay upright and be healthy for 12 games, and they've got to take care of the football. So.
Yeah, I'm looking throughout the SEC, Alabama with 11.5. I mean, is anybody challenging them to stay under that? That's obviously, if they go to the college football playoff again, there's, obviously up to 14 wins or whatever it is. I mean, if you're looking at Alabama 11.5, does anybody beat them this year?
It's always the same questions, right? It's what happens in Alabama LSU, and then what happens in Alabama Auburn. Which in the years when you think Auburn has no chance, that's the year they pull off some kind of crazy miracle and beat them. So I think that's where it's at. But I would be hitting that over on Alabama, all day long until they take 2 losses in a season. Before getting to the playoff, you got to just keep taking that over.
Right, because even a one-loss Alabama is getting into the college football playoff. Period. End of story. I mean, it is what it is. Same thing with Clemson. I know that's not a SEC, but I guess here's my question to you, Nathan. Are we tired? Are you tired of seeing the same teams in the college football playoff?
No, I'm only tired of seeing Ohio State in there, but the rest of them, give me Alabama, Clemson. I think that's great. People joke about all the are you tired of seeing the Yankees in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Look at the ratings when the Yankees are in the playoffs. Are you tired of seeing whoever it might be? But that's Kentucky, in basketball. You probably are, but as a Kansas fan. But like if it was Kentucky and Duke in the Final Four every year, CBS is like, yes, please, because that's going to be all the eyeballs, and it's the same with that. And if you want to see the best, then right now that's Alabama and Clemson.
Every year,
15 years ago it was USC, and now it's these two. So unless somebody beats them, let's go. And Clemson's interesting because they lost a number 1 overall quarterback, and lost their starting running back, and they lost starting wide receivers. So they're in that same boat where a lot of times you'd be like, oh, okay, they're going to drop back. No, they're just reloading, and they're coming again with the same guys. And I'll let you say DJ's last name for us. You pronounce that up. But, he's when he was out there last year, I know they lost the game in South Bend, but, man, what a heck of a game he played. And then, I'm looking forward to watching. As a college football fan, like that's what you want to do. You just want to watch that.
Yeah. So we're moving off the SEC. I'll come back to SEC here in a minute. So let me ask you this. I have this conspiracy theory, I think it is, that so Oklahoma is at 11 wins, and I know you're not a big Oklahoma guy already, especially out of the Big 12, but I just don't think the Big 12 is going to allow Oklahoma to go 12-0. And I'm not sure that they're not going to. So their win total's 11. Aren't we pounding the under there? Are we pounding the under at 11? I mean, Texas obviously is another team that they're not going to be too happy with. I don't know who's going to beat them though out of the Big 12 besides maybe Iowa State. But 11 wins for Oklahoma. What's your thoughts there?
SEC teams don't lose to Big 12 teams. So, Oklahoma's got to run the table, because they're an SEC team now. So that's what they do. I think that's, that's probably the smart bet is to hit the under there. There's a lot of people who think the way that you think right now, that there's going to be a big call in some game at the end, and it's going to go against Oklahoma, and it's going to go against Texas, and it's going to be hey, that's what you get for doing what you did, and that's going to happen, whether it now ends up being just 1 year or whether they make them ride it out for the whole, 3 years that it is, that's what's going to happen. So I say until we're proven otherwise, you got to kind of follow in those lines. They're going to have to go out there, and they're going to have to beat teams by 15 to 20. Not saying they can't do it. They got a really talented quarterback. They got a really talented running back. The defense has been suspect always. They've got a fantastic head coach. Texas not so much in any of those categories. Losing Ellinger, and now they'll figure out what they're doing at coach and these other positions. But Oklahoma, that quarterback coaching combo has been proven. Tried and true for a couple of times. So, I'm interested to see what Spencer Rattler can do in year 2 in that system. He quietly played really well in October, from mid-October on. We had 2 really tough games early. They dropped both those games. They fall off the national picture. Then they didn't lose again. And he played really well. I saw it firsthand. They played against Florida in the bowl. So, they kept going right on over. So we'll see what happens there.
Looks like we got Kevin in here. He's booing you. He's going, go Bucks. So
that's a welcome. That's a usual part of my life. So
yeah, there you go. Hey, so we had a Florida State fan on here. I don't know if he's still here or not. Their win total's only 5.5. How? They suck, right? Are they even going to get to 5.5? Are they going to get to 6 wins this year?
They've been struggling. You just hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
But, the bottom part of that. I didn't look at their schedule. I don't know their schedule, but the bottom part of that ACC is pretty bad. So if the schedule breaks right for them, but the thing that's tough, and I went through it for a couple of years as a Florida fan, both in the Ron Zook era and again with Will Muschamp, when teams like Florida, like Florida State, like Nebraska right now, like Texas, when they get down, nobody feels bad for them, and every other team that's getting better can't wait to go hang 40 on Florida State, hang 50 on Nebraska, hang 50 on Texas, and that makes your life as a fan. If you're Iowa State, you put 50 on Texas. After all the years that they have just beat you up. If you're Kentucky and you can beat Florida, or you're Boston College and you can beat Florida State, that goes on the cover of your program the next year. For all the years that they did that to you. So that's a tough number to see. I'm actually surprised it's that low. I would be interested to see some. Eric would tell you to take the under because I know he's down on their offensive line in that situation. But that's a very interesting number. I got to go look at their schedule now.
Well, I got their schedule up, and I see 5 games that obviously they're going to be underdogs. Notre Dame starting the year at North Carolina, they're going to be an underdog. At Clemson, they're an underdog. They're going to host Miami. They're probably still going to be an underdog in that one, depending how the Hurricanes are playing at that point. And then, of course, at Florida. Those 5 games, even if you took those 5 out, you still have 7 opportunities to win. I'm looking at, so Jacksonville State, Wake Forest, Louisville, Syracuse, all seem like games I think they could possibly win. UMass, never good. NC State, and then at Boston College. Like, it doesn't – to me, that looks like a 7-5 type season. I think I would look at the over here.
The 2 wild cards there are probably Louisville because you never seem to know what. Every year Louisville has expectations are horrible, and when you think they're nothing of Louisville, they're good. And the other one is Boston College because they seem to go in that cycle, and it seems like they kind of win some of those ugly games, whether it's against Florida State or it's against Miami or Virginia Tech or whoever. It seems like Boston College is always stealing one of those ugly games where you look up and somebody misses a kick off the post in the last 3 minutes, and all of a sudden Boston College is winning the game.
So one more I want to get to the local state school, because one of my rules on this show is I am not allowed to mention that name until they win a national championship. So I'm going to stick true to that. It's the local state school. They wear orange and blue. They play this coming Saturday. So first of all, I think they win this Saturday.
Do you realize? I realized this today. They have the first college football game of the season in the country.
Of the season. Yeah, that's wild, isn't it? How did they get that game?
How did them in Nebraska get that game? Like, it's not even Illinois against Ohio State or somebody against Michigan or whatever. It's Illinois, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Off the entire season. Like, I know last year that was supposed to be Notre Dame and Navy and Dublin, and Illinois was supposed to play overseas, but yeah, and maybe this was the game that was supposed to be overseas. I don't remember, but that's
right.
I think it was, right?
It is. Yeah, you're right. Now that I think about that, you're right.
The week 0 game in Dublin after Notre Dame and Navy played over there last year. So
that's right.
But it's still crazy that it's the first game at noon on Saturday, and I think Illinois wins. But I have, I don't know if there's a whole lot of people that I have less respect for than I do Scott Frost. So,
right.
I'll throw that out there. But I think I was kind of joking. Like, because next week they play UT San Antonio at home, and they're going to be 2-0 before a lot of teams kick off. Like, they could be 2-0 before Florida kicks off.
Right. No, I agree. And one of the questions we got here, one of the comments, Colton is mentioning pound the over on 3, and 3 is, first of all, terribly low, and your expectations are 3 wins. That's pathetic. But I mean, I would certainly take the over here. Nebraska, I think, is a game they're going to win. They're going to beat UTSA. I mean, even the game at Virginia, I don't know. You probably have a little bit better idea on Virginia than I do. I think that's a game they could possibly compete in.
Virginia's an utter enigma. Like, they are one of those teams where it's like, one week they score a lot, they look really good, and the next week they are just horrible.
Right, but the schedule's not real tough. I mean, Maryland in week 4, at Purdue, Charlotte, Wisconsin at home, at Penn State, with Rutgers, at Minnesota, at Iowa, with Northwestern. Like, there is no Ohio State on there. Obviously, Michigan's down, but there's no Michigan on there. I'm pounding the over on the state school just down the street.
That's a pretty typical.
It is
big schedule. But yeah, Charlotte is better. That stretch of Wisconsin, Penn State, but then you got Rutgers on the other side of it. So,
and even at Minnesota, and now I mean, Minnesota's going to be fine, but
they never beat Iowa, so you just got to drive over to Burlington, put a little bit of cash on that.
There you go.
Then you're
yeah, because you can't do it in state, or you're going to have to call Costa Rica and do it.
Right.
Anyways, call up the boys in Costa Rica. I got plenty of them.
You have that direct contract.
Yeah. Hey, let's turn our attention to the NFL real quick. Your Green Bay Packers, are you concerned with the Aaron Rodgers drama, or is it in the past and no concerns?
I've been joking about that all year. Like, I never thought he was going anywhere. I thought he just wanted a little bit of attention. And I think he's going to, come take it out on the rest of the league, and they'll lose in the championship game like they do every year. And that's what's going to happen. Detroit's Detroit, in the division. They probably got worse moving Stafford for Goff. They obviously upgraded a head coach, because you couldn't downgrade much a head coach. But they got rid of Stafford and brought in Goff, so they are what they are. Minnesota was down again last year. They'll be back up. Cook destroys the entire division, especially Green Bay. They can't tackle Cook. But Kirk Cousins is already there to throw you a couple of interceptions. And then the other team, is a poverty franchise that, also wears orange and blue. Their offensive line, Justin Fields might be great, but they put him behind that offensive line this year, and they might need a stretcher. And Andy Dalton's going to be back there to start. When do they make that move? But do they have enough pieces around either one of them to go 9-8 or 8-9? I don't know, because that offensive line is not good.
No, we saw that offensive line in action when Justin Fields' helmet went halfway across the field last week.
You didn't even see the guy running right at him, which is a little scary. But yeah, I mean, I try not to put a whole lot of stock into anything that happens in the preseason when you got backups playing and all of that. But that offensive line isn't good no matter who's playing in there. It wasn't good last year, and they didn't make a ton of moves to make it a whole lot better. So, it's interesting for Green Bay. They open with New Orleans, and what are they doing at quarterback? We'll find out. They got a new era, and that's a play Green Bay won down there last year. So it's interesting to see that. It's probably going to be a shootout week one because it always seems to be when those teams play, and Green Bay's defense does not like to play inside of a dome ever anywhere. So that is what it is. What's their total?
The Packers' win total is 10.
Oh, I'm hammering that. Yeah, they're winning more than 10. I mean, if Rodgers is upright for 17 games, they're winning more than 10. Yeah.
Oh, I agree with the 17 game schedule now too.
Yeah.
I mean, 10-7. I mean, I'll take that push. Expecting 11-6 or 12-5. But I'm right with you. I was going to ask that next. I'm pounding the Packers 10, Minnesota at 9. I still think that's an over. I still think they're going to get to 10 wins, 10-7. Bears at 7.5. I'm right on about 8-9 for them.
They're gonna be right at that number.
Yeah. And then Detroit's 4.5. I mean, I don't think Detroit wins 5 games. I don't think there's a way.
They're 4.5 for eternity. It's just what they do.
It's just what yeah, you're right. There's one team below them, and that's the Houston Texans. No surprise, but there's one team below them. So yeah, I mean that's where we're at with the NFC. So I mean, you say they lose in the championship game. You think an NFC championship game?
Yeah, I mean that's what they do every year. They get to the playoffs. They win one and they lose the second one. So if they're the 1 seed, that means they lose in the championship game. If they're the 2 or the 3 seed, that means they win a game and then they go lose. Are they a step behind? On defense, they are. And so it comes down to making those plays. And like last year against Tampa, you saw they were more than a step behind with Kevin King at corner, and unfortunately he's still out there. So if they come up in the playoffs against a team that can throw the ball, and if that's Russell Wilson, if it's name any of the other whoever's going to play for San Francisco, and in the Rams, I mean, Stafford doesn't scare me as much in the playoffs because I saw him head to head, but that's a much better team he's on now with the Rams than what he had with. So he obviously has a good arm. So yeah, I mean, at some point they're going to have to get somebody that can stop that corner, and is it Tampa Bay again? And until somebody beats that guy, it's Tampa Bay again.
Right.
So I mean, last year was the year to do it when they were on the road for all the playoff games, and nobody could do it. So.
Nobody did it. Yeah. Well, I did my Super Bowl prediction a little early. I was on with Colton Kaler earlier this week on his podcast. I got Rams in Buffalo. Tell me why I'm crazy.
Why you're crazy?
Wait.
Matt Stafford is why you're crazy. Again, they have much better talent around him, but I don't believe he's ever won a playoff game. I think he's 0-3. So putting him into the Super Bowl when he's never won a playoff game is the part that's a little crazy. Now, he never had that kind of defense with Aaron Donald and any of those. And now, yeah, he had some really good wide receivers, including the guy that just got a gold jacket 2 weeks ago. And we'll see what they do with the run game, because that Rams run game was not as good last year as I thought it would be. They kind of played the roulette wheel at running back in Cam Akers and Henderson and whoever else. I can't remember who else they had last year. But, they kind of ran through 3 or 4 different guys. Kupp is fantastic. Woods is really good. They've got a couple of good tight ends. So, but yeah, I still Matt Stafford's got to show me that he can win multiple playoff games in January. If they're at home, that's one thing.
Yeah.
If he has to go and play outside in Seattle, which will be cold and rainy in January.
Oh yeah.
Green Bay, which will be cold and snowy. Whoever wins the East Division, unless it's Dallas, it's obviously a covered situation. But if he's got to go to it's not going to be the Eagles or the Giants. He's got to go to Washington, which is what happened last year, right? Tampa had to go to Washington. Not cold there, but still not LA. So until he goes and wins an outdoor cold weather game, I'm not a believer in them as in the Super Bowl. Buffalo, I mean there's a lot I like with Buffalo. Josh Allen's the number one fantasy quarterback. I'm told of. The last couple of years he's been churning it out and doing all that, and there's a lot to like there. Their coach is good. He seems to really know what he's doing. I don't know if they're going to get a new stadium, like that whole deal with Rodgers. I was reading that the other night when I was working on one of the NFL news notes. I ended up not doing it because I didn't even understand the whole situation.
I don't either. Yeah, I don't either.
I pivoted away from that, and I think I ended up writing about Trey Lance instead. But,
here we go.
That was, that's just a crazy deal. They want this $1 billion stadium from Erie County, and Erie County wants, not to spend that much money. So it's, the whole thing's crazy up there. But their fan base is something
crazy.
And I don't know about pile driving each other through tables during tailgating, but the rest of it's awesome. Like it's fun to watch that on Twitter. It's fun to see their fans interact. I would, I'd like to see them make a nice little run. I think that there's a couple sneaky good teams in the AFC. If pieces fall together for them, it's going to be good. Like Cleveland made that move. This year. Are they ready to make one more move? Baltimore seems to always fall apart in January. Does Pittsburgh have one more run in them? Can Miami make that next step? Does New England come back now that they've got guys back that COVID opted out and missed last year because they were hurt? I still don't really have any wide receivers, but
Kansas City's still really good.
Well, yeah, I mean they're the team to beat, but that's everybody's pick. That's when you go into a few years ago when you're in the NBA, you're like, man, I don't want to pick Golden State. Who else can I pick? That's how it is this year. I don't want to pick Kansas City. Who else can I pick? There's no reason not to have Buffalo at the top of that list.
Yep.
What about Tennessee?
I mean Tennessee's another team. They're going to throw the ball all over the place. They've got arguably the best running back. I don't know if their defense holds up in the end, but I mean they're certainly a team. They should win that South Division for sure.
Anything left in the tank, and does his hamstring stay intact for 17 games?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Right. No, I mean, it's going to be a wide open NFL, and that's what I'm really excited about. I was going to ask you any football road trips on your agenda this year? You heading any games this year?
I might get one. We've got our schedule here in Monmouth started in at Wartburg on September 4th, and then we're home against Grinnell on 9/11 for our first home game, which will be our first home game since November of 19. It'll be my first game. So we get done. Our regular season ends on the 20th or the 13th actually of November. Playoffs would be on the 20th. So might try to sneak in a game somewhere in there. We've got one road game weekend where we don't have any other events with soccer or volleyball. So might try to sneak in a game there. That it probably really just depends on the pandemic and the travel and getting that going. So I would like to get. I'd like to get a road trip. A bunch of the guys that are throwing in some comments here. We took a trip down to Nashville a couple of years ago. We had Vanderbilt tickets. We never actually went to the game. We went downtown Nashville instead. But we made that SEC road trip and we've talked about a few other places that we can hit and go to and check it out. So I usually try to get to either a game in Normal. Or in Champaign. I actually haven't been to Champaign in probably 3 or 4 years now, but I've been to Normal just about every year for at least a half, if not a game, depending on the tailgate and who's in town and what else is going on over there. So and now I'm pretty close to Macomb too, and might get over there. So we'll see if we can sneak something in at some level.
Yeah, well, you definitely brought the comments with a few of your guys here, so I do appreciate them. Kevin, Eric, both coming on here. Tanner Colton also been doing some comments, so appreciate that. So one thing we do here, Nathan, and I know you're kind of familiar with this, is we throw a see ya, one or two or a couple or as many as we have. So our see ya list is basically something or somebody that's been eliminated or lost their job or something this week. So we dedicate a see ya time. You got one for us tonight?
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think they're done, and I know one of those guys that actually two of the guys that just commented are going to love my see ya. But I think we can say see ya to the San Diego Padres. I think they are done.
Really? I
think they are hurt. Their pitching staff is blown up. Nobody there is healthy. I know one of them's just not a Padres fan, and the other one's a Reds fan, and he wants that wild card spot. But I think you can put a fork in the Padres, and it's amazing because they swept the Dodgers at the end of June, and they were right there nip and tuck with the Dodgers for that wild card, and now they're 11 and a half games behind the Dodgers. Which part of that's because the Dodgers are 17-4 in the last one, something like that. But the Padres are 2-9, and then Darvish, is going to come back, but what is he? Paddock's hurt. Not that Arrieta was any good, but he got there and lasted one start, and they just can't stay healthy. And even Tatis going down and then coming back and moving to the outfield. I just, as much as I liked them at the beginning of the year, they were everybody's darling and they're fun to watch. I love Tatis. I'm actually a big Machado fan. I know some aren't. I like a lot of the pieces out there, but I think that they're done. I think you can put a fork in the San Diego Padres, and since he did announce that retirement at the end of the year, and I got a Busch Stadium
there you go
glass in my hand, I'll give a positive see ya to Yadi.
Yadi Molina.
He says 2022 will be his last year. That's not a get out of here see ya. Here's to you. See ya. Actually, my intern year was with in Peoria was with 18-year-old Yadier Molina behind the plate, winning a Midwest League championship. So that's awesome. That's my see ya toast.
And
my negative see is to the Padres.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. I know we were up in baseball, so I know that John Mozeliak obviously gets a lot of flack for the moves he does or doesn't make, but I guess my only thinking, maybe I'm thinking too positively here, but the Cardinals are going to be forced to do everything possible to try to be as much of a contender next year as possible, aren't they? They have to, right?
They have to. There's going to be too many people in that organization whose jobs will be on the line if they miss the playoffs for a second season in a row, with fans coming back to the stand. Now everybody forgets that they were right there last year and did that, and they were in the CS the year before. But now you got fans back. The stadium's been half full, charitably. The last couple of weeks, and if they are 500 next year, it's going to be the same. And they're not. That's not going to do it in that market with that fan base and with what they've done. So, they made the big move to get Arenado. Hopefully he doesn't opt out. But injuries hit him for sure, especially with Flaherty going down again. With stuff like that. But they got to make that other move. They got to go for it, because you're going to start to get a fan base that's going to go the same on Mike Schilt that they went on Mike Matheny. There was a straight year of having 500 or sub 500 baseball like they did on Matheny, and he made the World Series.
Yes.
And it made the CS again after that. What did he do? CS in 12, World Series in 13, CS in 14, DS in 15, and then 16 and 17 were bad. It was C. Right?
See ya, Mike Matheny.
Yeah. So that happened again here too, where it was playoffs, and now or CS in 19, a playoffs in 20, a down year in 21, which is still over 500 at the moment.
Right.
But if it's a down year in 22, it's going to be loud on social media, and it's going to be coming after multiple people, and that'll be tough for them to ignore. So I think they know that. They're smart enough to know that. I think that they do what they can to go out there and make that big trade again. December. Look, they've not been afraid to make that trade, right? They went out and got Goldschmidt. They went out and got Arenado. They've made those trades. I'd like to see them do it for a pitcher.
Yes.
You're probably going to bring Wainwright back after what he's done. You just brought Yachty back. You're probably going to do the same thing with Wainwright if he wants to come back, which we don't know yet.
Yeah.
And you're going to bring him back, but some of those other guys are not going to be back. Carlos Martinez isn't going to be back. Is Michaelis going to be healthy? Some of the other guys haven't stepped up. So yeah, they gotta go for it in pitching. They got to make that big deal. They got to use their chips that they've got. I'm excited to see if I saw some of these young guys down in Memphis that came through Peoria. I mean, Nolan Gorman homered again last night. I think had 3 big hits, and he's having a fantastic. I don't think they'll bring Albert back for that retirement.
I don't think so either.
If the DH comes to the National League, maybe. I don't think they will. Next weekend's going to be awesome, though.
It is. Yeah.
Next week, I don't even know what the tickets are on StubHub for Monday for Labor Day. They're going to be crazy. That's going to be awesome. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And, I would love to be down there on Monday. That's an afternoon game. I think it's a 3:00 Labor Day game, right?
Yes.
And Albert coming back, it's going to be awesome. I know a couple of my buddies were down there when he was back with the Angels, and it was insane. And it's going to be again. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch on TV. But yeah, they got to make a move. They got to go for it in 22 for sure. No doubt.
I mean, I would double down on that if the Cardinals have, let's say a good weekend and then a good week next week. I mean, you're really talking about quite a bit of fun because they're right in striking distance as Albert does come to town. You talked about the Padres being see it. I was looking at their schedule, and they face Max Scherzer tomorrow.
Yeah.
But then they have the Angels over the weekend. Now they don't have to face Ohtani though.
No, but the Padres had Urias coming back off the injured list yesterday.
Yeah.
And he's getting a calf injury. So he was 13-3 before yesterday. They face Walker Buehler right now, and they face Scherzer tomorrow. So that's a nice 1-2-3 series, isn't it?
Yeah, Dodgers are stupid. Yeah.
What they get off of Ohtani, or they had no hits or no runs off of Urias last night. They scored 2 runs in the 8th inning. They had 3 hits total. That's how that series started with Urias 5 innings, 1 hit, and 4 strikeouts. Now tonight they face Walker Buehler, and tomorrow they're going to face Max Scherzer.
Yep.
And they don't have a hit they're in the 2nd inning tonight against Buehler. So yeah, I mean, good luck with that.
Yeah. So, all right, Nathan. Well, we got to wrap it up. We keep a rule here. We try to keep it no more than about 40 minutes because people get bored after that. I think people are starting to get bored. No, they don't get bored with you here. But hey, I do appreciate you coming on. I hope I get you again here as college football keeps going. We'll get you another Wednesday night or maybe a Sunday night somewhere along the way. Maybe talk a little more NFL and college football. And we can follow you at your Twitter account there. You have all sorts of hot takes. You are the hot take machine.
I do what I can to keep you entertained.
Yeah. So I've gotten to the point where I don't let you trigger me anymore. I just move on from your tweets. We don't.
That's because Kansas basketball hasn't been that good the last couple of years. So
that's true, and I know they cheated. So I mean, I can't really argue about it. I just okay, they cheated, or they're going to get away with it. The pandemic allowing them to get away with it. I mean, people just forget that happened. Anyways, I mean that's a different story. We'll talk college basketball when it comes.
Thanks for having me. Anytime you need it, I'm always here. Happy to contribute, have some fun, talk sports, love it.
Yep, sounds good. All right, that's Nathan Believa. I'm Rodney Knuppel. This has been the Sports 2.0 Get the Kids to Bed, Put the Kids to Bed version. We'll be back Sunday night with another show right here on the Sports 2.0 network. So long for just a while.